If you love your coffee when you caravan or camping, this video is for you. Here's my top 5 tips. G'day happy campers, Dennis from Caravan Cooking here. I've got to admit, I'm addicted to coffee. Well, maybe not addicted, but I certainly love my coffee. And I find it hard to get going in the morning without a good strong cup of coffee. And that's whether I'm home, whether I'm going to work, or whether I'm caravanning camping. So today I've got my top 5 tips on making coffee while you're caravanning and camping. Okay, let's get into it. Number 5. My number 5 tip is a pour over coffee. One of the biggest growers of coffee in the world, believe it or not, is Vietnam. And when I was visiting South Vietnam about 10 years ago or so, I bought this drip coffee maker. It's very, very simple, and I know Yeti have come out with a version of it recently, but I'm not going to spend a lot more money and buy it if I've already got this one here. So let's see how it works. So you may see inside there, so that's where the coffee goes in the bottom there. There is, below that metal plate, there is a filter paper. So the filter paper goes in that area there, and we put the coffee in here and basically it drips down into the coffee cup. So let's see how it goes. Oh, I've just got to get my coffee. I thought I was so organised this morning, but I didn't have everything here. Okay, so this is ground coffee so it's beans that have been ground. It's quite a coarse grain. Coarse ground, and this is Fish River roasted coffee. If you're in Australia or in New South Wales, it comes from near Bathurst, and it's my favourite coffee. So I'm going to put a couple of teaspoons of that in there. Get that out of the way, close that up so it stays fresh. And just a heads up, we'll be using that again shortly. And then we're going to pour boiled water over the top. Now, watching water boil is probably just as bad as watching paint dry, or even watching lawn bowls on television. So I've pre-boiled the water, and I'm just going to fill this up with the water. And I'll give it a little bit of a stir as well. And that just eventually will drip down from this chamber here down into my travel cup. You'll see it there, you can see it dripping down there. It's going fairly quickly. Now look, I must admit I'm not a huge fan of UHT milk, but when you're, especially on cold mornings, when you're making your coffee when you're camping and caravanning, you put cold milk in your cup, you're going to have a cold cup of coffee. So I've left this at room temperature. This has just only been opened a few minutes ago. This is still coming through. Well, that's not too bad. And by the time I've added some milk there, it will be fine. Alright, let's pour a bit of milk in. Don't need a lot. I would prefer a strong coffee rather than a weak coffee. I've got coffee grounds all over my hand. Anyway, that's a good colour and a nice coffee. That was pretty quick and easy. It's not the best coffee I've had in the world, but it's okay. Alright, so that's, as I said, that's number 5. Rightio, let's go on to number 4. So number 4 is a pod coffee. I've used an espresso compatible pods, and I'm using a Waikato pod machine. So these are manual machines. You can get 12 volt machines as well, but this is what I've got, and it comes with a lovely case as well. If I look from memory, I think that was a little bit extra, but it's a lovely case. Now there's different parts to the machine. So it comes with a little cup. It has a part up here, see that I've had water in there, is where you put your water in, the hot water in. And the other part down here is where you actually put your Nespresso compatible pod. Right, let's give this a little quick wipe down. Right, so you take your Nespresso compatible pod and you push it in there. Now I find that these types of machines, they never pierce the aluminium top of the pod properly. So what I do is I pierce it a few times with a very sharp knife. These little bits in here really are no good at piercing the top of the pod machine, of the pod. Right, so close that down like that. Now this is the part we put the water in. Got some more boiled water here, and I'll fill this container, or this section if you like, with boiling hot water. And then just screw that on tightly. Try not to burn yourself, that water was hot. Right, now you release this little button here, and then you get your coffee cup, and basically we're going to press this little lever here, and what that does is it pressurizes the whole machine, and the coffee then, I can just feel that starting to go there, the coffee then is the water is forced through the pod to make it coffee. It's going through there now. Now the limitation to these things is the size of the water chamber. That's what I'm finding anyway. Okay, that's about it. There's no more water coming through. And that's the size of the coffee, so we don't get a lot of coffee in there. But that's what we've got. And again, I've got the milk down here somewhere. Put a little bit of milk in. Give it a swirl around if you want to. Now, interesting with that one, we've got a little bit of a crema on it. There certainly wasn't, I don't know if you can see it, there certainly wasn't a crema with the other machine. Okay, so that tastes nice, nicer than the pour over, but it's okay. It's okay. And it was pretty quick as long as you got boiling water. If you have to boil the water, obviously, it's going to take another 5 minutes or so. Okay, that's our number 4. Rightio. So we're now up to number 3. Now the previous one was a pod machine, but it was a manual pod machine. What I have here is a Lavazza pod machine that runs off 12 volt. So it's called, let's see what it's called. It's called a Lavazza Modo Mio Express Go. I'm not sure whether they're still available. I bought this quite a number of years ago, but there are similar products on the market still. Right, so the Express Go is a great little machine. It comes in its own little bag. I'll get it out here. That's what it looks like. And it doesn't take the Nespresso pod machines, pods. It takes the Lavazza pods, and they're readily available in the supermarket. They're certainly in Coles and Woolies in Australia anyway. And it's pretty similar to what we had in the other one, except that it attaches to a battery. Right, so first thing we do is we open up the cover and we fill that with water. Now I'm going to use the leftover hot water here. It's still going to heat it up, but it's just water basically. So I'm going to open that up. I'm going to fill that up until it's level at the top. You can use hot water in 12 volt machines, and the benefit of that, I suppose, is that it's going to do a quicker job. Now, similar to the other one, I am going to just pierce the top of the pod, and then this part here screws down. A bit hard to see, I know. Screws down on top like that, and we line up the little lines here. It's a bit hard to see, I'm sorry. Okay, I've just plugged this into my lithium ion battery there, and I'm tidy up some of this mess, and you can see that gauge there is now going up nicely. Basically we want the gauge to go as far as it can go. Okay, so you can see now the needle's gone right up to the top there, and so that means that it's all done and ready to go. I'm going to unplug it from here, and I'll take it back over to the other table. And I get the little cup that comes with the thing here, and it's got a slide switch here. So basically you turn it over, open up the slide switch. There you go. There's the coffee coming out there now. Oh, you can smell the coffee too, it's lovely. And a really nice crema on top of that as well. Okay, that means it's all done. There's nothing left in there. Put that down there out of the way. Give it a quick wipe. Got to look after this chopping board. My daughter and my son-in-law had that specially made for me. It's a beautiful board. And slop of milk. Bob's your uncle. There's your coffee there with a beautiful crema on top. Rightio. Number 2. So number 2 in my top 5 for coffee is the good old AeroPress. Been around for a long time, and it does a very good job, but there's one thing that I don't like about it. But anyway, let's go on with that. So the AeroPress, basically, you put the coffee in this chamber here and the water. Give it a stir. Well, I'll show you anyway. Now, one little tip is you can use filter paper in there, but AeroPress also sell a little stainless steel or aluminium, I don't know what it is, filter, which means you don't have to buy filter paper all the time. So we'll whack that in there. Then the next thing we'll do is we'll add some coffee. My good old Fish River roaster coffee here. Put 1 tablespoon, dessert spoon, 2 dessert spoons, 3 dessert spoons, and then I'll seal it up so it's nice and fresh. The next thing I'll do is I'm going to add hot water. So you add boiling water. Might be a bit hard to see, but you have to take the word for it. I'll whack that in there like that. Oh, good if I put the right lid on. I think what's going to happen here is I put too much coffee in, but that's okay. Strong coffee is a good coffee. Give that a quick stir. Yeah, I think I've put far too much coffee in there. But anyway, that's all good. I'll whack that on there. And I've stirred it up, so I'm going to leave it now to draw, if you like, a bit like tea. Now, I said there's one problem I didn't like about the AeroPress, and that is, where is my travel cup? It doesn't fit my travel cup. My travel cup is either too small or that's too big, one of the two, I don't know. So I've got to go for one of these enamel mugs, and that's okay. So I'll just turn that over and I'll leave it there for a few minutes. A bit of tidying up while I'm waiting. How good is this location, eh? I mean, a good campsite always have a little creek going along. It's not really swimmable. It's not that big a creek. Although I suppose you could have a dip down there in the little water hole. I've got a couple of sheep over there on the other side of the fence keeping an eye on me, and there's about 5 horses in the paddock down here. One of them's come up and had a bit of a set a bit of a low, but that's about it. But it's very quiet and very close to home as well. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is, so we've let it steep for a little while, and I'm going to push the plunger down into the water and through the coffee. And what's happening is that's filling up the mug underneath with filtered coffee. A little bit more. Yeah, I've definitely put too much coffee in there, but that's okay. I do like a strong coffee anyway. Rightio. I'll just pop that down there on the ground out of the way. I'll wipe this cutting board again so Courtney doesn't have my guts for garters, and we'll put some milk in the top there. Now obviously you see how the spout is off center there, so if I turned it around that way and did it, because it's so full, it would spill out. But doing it with the spout up the top means that, see, you get a really nice pour from that. Okay, I'll give it a quick stir. Yeah, that is a strong coffee. Okay, and that's coffee number 2. That's lovely. That's lovely. Actually, all that coffee in there was made it quite strong. But I love strong coffee. Okay, so number 2 was AeroPress. Rightio. So for the next one, I'm going to use my trusty little Gasmate butane stove. So it runs off butane gas. Butane gas comes in these little cylinders here. Make sure you give it a shake, because especially in cold weather, they tend to freeze up around the nozzle there. So give it a really good shake. If you're camping in wintertime or caravanning in wintertime, the best thing to do is have 2 of these on the go. Have them both in the bottom of your sleeping bag or under your cover at night time, so they're nice and warm in the morning when you go to use them, and then they'll less likely to freeze up. So just pop it into that little thing there and press the button. Right, I'm going to use that in a sec. But number 1. So number 1, my favourite tip for doing coffee when you're camping and caravanning is using a mocha pot. Mocha pot's quick and easy, and it means that there's probably more than a cupful of coffee in there, but it means that the rest of the coffee stays warm when you're having your first cup. So let's show you how it is. So there's 3 parts to the mocha pot. That's the part where the coffee is going to end up. That's where we're going to put the ground coffee, and this is the chamber where we put the water. So you see a little pressure release valve. So I'm going to fill up the water in the chamber just to the bottom of that pressure release valve. Still got some water in here. I could use cold water, that's fine, but this is what I'm going to use. May as well use it up. Water's actually still quite hot. Okay, so that's down there out of the way. There's our little chamber we're going to put the coffee in, and I'll get my trusty Fish River roaster coffee out again. They make about 6-7 different varieties of coffee, and you can choose you can either get them as beans, or you can choose to get a ground as well. Now, Christmas time last year, in November, I was away at Milprenka doing our duty at the museum and the caravan park. Unfortunately, Jeanette, my wife, couldn't come, but what popped up on Facebook was they had a special box of all their like a tasting box, had all their coffees in it, and I thought, well, that's great. So I popped it over to my wife just to show what it was, and then I ordered one online. Anyway, it arrived while I was away, and I came back in late November and showed the wife, and she goes, "Oh, that's lovely." And then come Christmas Day, I opened up a big box from her, and guess what? It was another one. So now I've got 2 lots of every single coffee they make, which is nice. So I'm just going to I'm just going to fill it up there, and then I'm going to put this on the top, screw that on. Right, now to turn this on, a bit hard to see, but you'll have to, maybe I'll turn it this way. Okay, so this engages the fuel cell, if you like, in there, and then we turn this, and that ignites the gas. Well, now I'll put that on. I'll leave that open when I do that. I'll just slide it over there a little bit. And I've got room here to do other things. Right, and in the not too distant future, it's a bit like waiting for water to boil, as I said before, the coffee's actually going to percolate up into that top chamber. It's about midday. Yeah, it's just after midday, and the wind's come up a little bit. I hope the sound's not too bad. Unlike last time, I've put the dead cat on the dead cat little furry thing on the end of the microphone, so hopefully that will fix the issue that I had with the wind in the last video. Right, you can see the coffee starting to come through at the top there. I'm just going to close that down now. I've turned that right down. So basically all the water's come up through there now, and the coffee, you can still hear it percolating a little bit. And I'll flick this switch up on the butane cooker to disengage the little cylinder there, so if I'm driving along and everything, the gas doesn't leak. Rightio, so I'll get out my favourite coffee cup. I use this every single day. Got my milk, and that's how simple it is. So there's still some more in there. If I had a smaller cup, that would be enough for two people just out of the one thing. Some milk in there. And that's just really nice. Yeah, that's great. Now, of course, when I'm travelling by myself, I use this little fella, but when I'm travelling with my beautiful wife, Jeanette, we use this one. It's about 3 times the size of this little fella here. So we use this when we're camping in a tent, or also we can use it in the caravan. We use it on the gas stove inside the caravan, and you could use it on a fire as well, I suppose, if you had a grate over the top, or even just on the hot coals. So it's very, very versatile. So so that's my number one. So the number one is the mocha pot. The AeroPress is a very, very close second. And the main difference is that although the AeroPress gives a great tasting coffee, you really need a big mug to use it, and especially when you're camping and everything. Look, I don't drink the coffee quickly. I like to enjoy my coffee, so I'll sit down by the edge of the river here, and have a nice coffee and enjoy it, rather than having a big mug where the coffee can go cold. So if I use it in the travel cup like this, it stays nice and warm, and I can be around a campfire or talking to our campmates and caravan buddies and friends, and sipping the coffee. So coffee is really, in my mind, to be enjoyed. Number 3 was what was number 3? Oh, the 12 volt Lavazza coffee maker, and that's okay. And look, if I'm going on a driving trip where I might be driving for 8 hours and I'm stopping, say at the Arimba rest area, just north of Sydney, or I just want to go to the toilet, have a quick coffee, I'll use that 12 volt coffee maker. It doesn't take a long time. Makes a reasonable coffee, and then I can be back on the road again in 15 minutes. Number 4 was the Wakeiko pump pod machine. I very rarely use it, quite frankly. It's yeah, I'm not a huge fan, but you see these things in BCF and camping shop magazines, and you've got to have one of those. I love pot coffee, and well, it's just not my favourite. Too much mucking around, and it makes too small a coffee, in my opinion. And the 5th one, remember, was the pour over, and I bought that in Saigon or Ho Chi Minh City, as I said. Yeah, it's okay, but I don't use it very often either. And actually, in fact, I probably haven't used it for about 3 or 4 years, and I had to dig it out from my big camp chest that's in the garage. But we're going to North Vietnam in a couple of months' time, and maybe we'll fall in love with Vietnamese coffee again. Anyway, they're my top 5 tips for coffee. If you liked the video, you'd like to see more of these, please subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up. I'd really love your comments. What are your tips for coffee when you're caravanning and camping? This is my opinion. I'm sure other people have got other opinions as well, and I'd love to have a look at them. And anyway, signing off. This is Dennis from Caravan Cooking. Thanks for watching. Hooroo. Oh, bloody love coffee. What a great spot.